Morning, Coach. Mike Barber, Richmond Times-Dispatch. I'm curious, what has been your experience in terms of how prevalent tampering is with players who are maybe not yet in the transfer portal? How big a concern is that, and do you have any solutions for policing it?
First of all, Mike, how you doing? I think it's a big concern. My experience, I just don't do it, so I don't have to really worry about that. You get a lot of kids want to go to the school, they try to reach out, but just try to stay away from those things. You know, that's not something that we're willing to do. We don't want to break any rules. So I just really stay away from that. You know, once they hit the portal, then we can talk. You're not in the portal. We got a team that just looks directly at the portal. If you're not in the portal, we're not going to talk to you.
Coach, to your right, front row, right in front of you.
Coach Dan Tortora, wakeupcalldt.com. How are you?
I'm doing well. Yourself, man?
Doing well. Looking at coming into this team and utilizing the transfer portal as well as true freshmen coming in and returning players, family's important to you, not just saying the word, but actually living that way. How has this started to come together as a cohesive group going in the same direction from freshmen to transfers to returners?
I think what we did when it came to transfers, we only got guys that were truly, like, there's a saying that I have, like, DART is our core values, but then I go committed, care, and trust. And if you look at all the guys that we brought in, I think they're truly committed to not just themselves, but to winning, to the bigger piece of the program. They truly care, and then I can trust them. You know, and the teammates can do the same thing. So us having the opportunity of going to get Kyle McCord and him coming in, us having the opportunity of getting the Fidel Diggs, and then, you know, we had Justin Bear, Marlo Wags, LaQuint Allen, all those guys stay there to be able to gel it all together. Our family piece is starting to come together. At first, I wouldn't have been able to tell you that we were a family because we just knew each other and we didn't go through any rough times, but now we're becoming a better family.
Coach, to your left, third row, almost towards the end there.
Hey, Coach, Tony Syracuse from Last Word on Sports.
How you making out?
I'm doing all right, thanks. How are you?
Great.
And welcome to the new job. Part of your first year, though, you guys have to adapt to the new conference as much as anyone because you've got to go out to the West Coast to play. The other day, we heard from Stanford and Cal coaches about the preparations they're making to come out east. What kind of preparations have you guys already started to kind of go through that process of having to play a game all the way out there and late in the season?
I mean, I think time comes. I think with that, it's like a 2-week base you got to get ready for. So it'll be like 2 weeks before. We'll start to possibly practice sometimes during the time of the game, making sure all that stuff works. But I mean, we still got to play 60 minutes, right? I think these kids are young enough. I know when I was young, I go to the West Coast. I'm not going to bed if I get there, no matter what time it is on the East Coast. So when I get over there, I make sure we do the same things. But we'll just go over there and have fun. You know, excited to be able to go and play on the West Coast. But we'll adapt as it comes, week to week. Mainly, we're just going to worry about getting in the camp right now, and we'll let that handle itself when it gets to us.
Coach, from the podium, what does accomplished greatness mean to you?
Accomplished greatness just means consistent, like every day. You know, you won't have greatness every single day, but as long as you continue to work, you'll get to where you're trying to get to. And I think that's truly a great slogan, especially for our conference, because we're competitive. If you look at all the coaches in this conference that I get an opportunity of coaching with, there's some fine men in this conference, a lot of national championships. So I think that's the perfect slogan for this conference. Just overall, you know, all sports, football, basketball, lacrosse, just everything there is. I think it's a great slogan, and it just means consistency. Just continue to work until you get to your end goal.
Let's go back to Dan right in front of you, first row.
Coach, in this world, obviously, a lot of people are looking at wins and losses, they're looking at the transfer portal, they're looking at money in NIL, but you go beyond that. You talk a lot about your faith. You also are big on being a part of the community, and I want to say thank you to you and the team first and foremost for what you're doing in Syracuse, because that's my hometown. Just what you can say about going beyond wins and losses, beyond the money, beyond all those things that are always a topic of conversation, to helping the community and making sure that that faith is forward.
First and foremost, like, faith is really important to me. I think a lot of people say it, they'll get up on the podium and say, I want to thank God first and foremost, but they don't live it on a daily basis. Our core values, like it was DART, you know, that's our identity, who we are, just being detailed, accountable, relentless, and tough. And we feel if you can do that with your faith, you can also do that in the community. I mean, it just means a lot, you know, and I think that once they're doing that in their faith, they're doing it in the community, they're doing it with their families in the classroom, football will be able to handle itself. So that's kind of the main thing. I think the faith piece is the beginning of becoming a man. having a true foundation when you go through those rough times in life, because every adult in here has hit a rough patch, has hit a rough time in life, and when you're able to fall back on your faith, there's no better feeling when you truly believe and you're a believer.
Coach, back to the right in Mike Barber.
Yeah, Coach, you hear so much from coaches and players about building a culture within a program. I'm curious what the culture you found in the ACC is. Do conferences still have a culture now that they're so spread out across the country? What have you seen on that front?
I just seen a bunch of great men, as coaching-wise, that I got a chance to be at the head coach when we went out in Florida, just being out there with those guys and just being around a lot of greatness. I think that slogan for the conference, accomplish greatness, meant a lot because there was a lot of great men. What they're building on their teams individually, I think they're good football teams. I got a chance to watch them, and they're just who we are. I'm just worrying about us, in our culture. But I think that you would say the ACC always had a lot of really good quarterbacks. You look at all the quarterbacks in this conference, some great pass rushers, some good pass catchers. We got good running backs, one of the top running backs in the country. Yardage-wise is on one of the teams in our conference. Then you got LaQuint Allen. When it comes to quarterback, we were able to go and add Kyle McCord to come to this conference along with the other ones that were there. Fidel Diggs, defensive backs, So just all those little pieces, I think that all of that fits together when it comes to the conference.
Coach, from the podium, after officially being announced on November 28th, you landed Syracuse's highest ranked recruiting class since the advent of the ranking scale. You did that within a 22-day period before signing day. Do you have that sense of immediacy with everything you do? Because that felt fairly immediate.
I just want to win. I want to win. I want to make sure that Syracuse gets back to where they belong, where it was, where football kind of started at, in my opinion. Going back to Jim Brown, Ernie Davis, Floyd Little, Rob Zonka, all those guys that played, Tom Coughlin, those guys that played there. I want to get back to those same eras, that 1959, 1980, 17. I didn't get a chance when Pastor Mahoney took over, when you had Donovan McNabb and Dwight Freeney, Marvin Harrison, Donovan Darius, all those guys. It was important to me to be able to get us back into that same era. So it's like a nonstop race for us to make sure that we actually continue to go and try and accomplish greatness, and to just have these young men have an opportunity to show the country who they are football-wise. So everything I do, though, I try to make sure that, we just follow it all the way through. We got a saying, how you do anything is how you do everything. So just make sure that I'm locked in, because those guys are watching what I'm doing, not only as a football coach, but also as a father, as a husband, with my faith.
Once again to Dan in the front row.
Coach, you speak on Kyle McCord and what he can be to this team, with him coming in as a transfer, but being the signal caller and one of the leaders, if not the leader of this team. What did you see in him beyond the film that made you believe that he was the right person to lead your offense in your first season at Syracuse?
I think he's a great person. When you just sit there and talk to him, he's genuine. He's himself. He was a guy that has recruited a lot of people throughout my time of being a coach. Everyone started to change. The kids started to get different accolades and different honors, and they all switched up. And he's been the same person. He's the same guy that he was as a freshman. And then I just seen him as a winner. I think Kyle may have lost 2 games his entire life. Once maybe in Little League in the championship, and then last year. So the kid's just been a winner his entire life, and he's just a genuine person. I thought he was a leader. Got a chance to watch him play Little League, and where we come from, he's him. A lot of dudes is say different things and go about it, but he's just a good leader. When you watch him in the weight room, just everything about him. I'm honored and thankful that he's our quarterback and he's the leader of our football team.
Coach, your last question from the podium. Syracuse is getting ready to have a ribbon cutting on a brand new football complex. How will that factor into that winning, to that greatness that you're trying to build into?
If they come in just for the building, I don't really want those kids that want to come just for the building. But it always helps just for the coaches to just feel appreciated, for the players to feel appreciated on the football team. So I'm just thankful that we're able to do that, just to continue to expand. Syracuse is a great community. It's a great campus. So for us to have, just different dorms and different facilities and everything going up, I think it's just always great for the school. I don't really care about the buildings, to be honest, but I'm happy that it's going up. It means a lot. But I'm just trying to play, to be honest. I just want to coach football and play football so I can watch these guys have an opportunity to go out and show who they are and show how hard they've been working.
Coach, thank you. You can switch spots with LeQuint. We will spend a little bit of time with Mr. Allen.